Hello, everyone. This is Sandy Parker Martinez with the Pink Lady Posse, and I'm here with someone that I really respect. And I've known Dr. Ellie for some years. And then back when I knew her, she was kind of talking about something. And then my path went this way. And now I see her on TikTok all the time. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's famous. So the first question, though, I want to ask you is what we ask everybody, and that is, Dr. Ellie, what do women need? What do women really need to have a great life?
Great to be here, first of all, Sandy. Thank you so much for the invitation. And it has been a long time. We met a long time ago, and a lot has happened. And I think that's one of the things in life. When you get to this point, it is all those experiences and all the connections and all the people you know, and it kind of comes together. And answering your question about what do women need to have a great life, I think connections are one of them. I feel when I'm out of connection with people, it's really hard to get perspective. I think it's our friends and our interests and our, conversations with people that help us pull our minds together. I think one of the things that differs between men and women, I've asked men before now, what are you thinking? And they'll say nothing. You don't believe them, but I think it's really true. I think as one of my friends said, he has a nothing box. And I don't think I'm ever in a nothing box. I'm always thinking things or imagining things or, concocting things. And when we get together, I think we can iron these out. And it's one of the reasons I love doing podcasts and talking to people like you and answering questions, because then I know what are other women thinking about teeth, for example, in their heads when they're by themselves. How do they imagine what's going on in their mouth? Is a little pain a reason to rush to the dentist? And I'm here to tell you, no, a little pain may not be that bad. And if you go to the dentist, it may make it worse, actually. So I come here with experience to try to suggest that sharing things amongst trusted friends, sharing information, sharing knowledge, sharing a lot of things that we found worked for us. And if we're professionals, I don't care whether you're in the financial business, or I like to go to people who are like me, who have experience, I'd love to go to a woman financial advisor who's been divorced, been on her own, had to deal with not having much money. So how do you do this thing? Because she's been there, she's felt it, she's been through it. And in a sense, that's, I think, the greatest friendships and companionship and networks we can have is with other women of around our age with knowledge in their fields, and we share it. So I love your idea of the Pink Posse ladies. I think that's so great. And one of my reasons, I think, for being slightly different in dentistry is because I was a woman. I was one of the first women doing dentistry in England back in the 1960s. And they really didn't want us. They didn't want women in dentistry. There was a barrier. We had to have degrees far higher than the men. I have ended up marrying the dental student that sat next to me. He got into dental school with kind of C grades, just about, because he played rugby football. And the medical schools back in the 60s were like college football centers. If you played rugby and you were a 6'4" runner, you got into dental school. Whereas I had been studying at a private girls' school since the age of 10 and specialized in physics, chemistry, and biology, and went to study 6 days a week. We had to go to school on Saturdays. And I decided to do the sciences, physics, chemistry, biology, and Latin at the age of 13, so that I would be able to take these graded, entry level exams into college. And women had to get, 4.0 equivalent, one first time. You couldn't retake it. It was a one-time deal.
Golly.
It was golly. And I used to go to sleep at night with a tape recorder, learning chemistry and physics and Latin, and it was agony. But the interesting thing is that all that background came to enrich my understanding of dentistry that could never have been otherwise. So I am now thankful, but at the time, it seemed grossly unfair. And, that's, I think, why I come to dentistry, even came to dentistry with a different idea.
Well, I think one thing when you mentioned connection, one thing that came to my mind is my mind by myself is a scary place.
Yes, we all have it. There's so many things.
I mean, all I have to do is wake up and I have random thoughts that may or may not be useful. But if I start having a conversation with somebody, I can find myself more out here than I
Exactly.
am on my own. And I'm just like, I don't know, random messages. So connection is a great blessing. It's really a lifeline for me. I know a lot of people have heard the story, but after Rodney died, I had a widows group from hospice. And we stayed together on Zoom every Monday and continue to do that. For 5 years, we've been together. And
Yeah.
if I didn't show up, they'd come looking for me.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that means just a sort of like flying with the net under me. So it
Yes. I
means a lot to
absolutely.
me.
I think so. Absolutely.
Thank you. Back to the entrepreneurs who want, I want to make money, right? I'm 68. I got 30 more years. I don't know how many more years I got to live. And I want a nice business that helps people so I can put it on TikTok or I can put it whatever. But in the back, you have to have a company where somehow money happens. And
Yeah, I'm blessed because I give that to my daughters. I have two daughters. One is a PR, that's what she likes or wants to do. I mean, she's still quite young in it. The other is a more experienced one, and she is taking over the Zelly's business, the
right,
actual day of that. But she's also really good at understanding. I mean, these kids have heard this their entire lives.
I'm sure.
They've seen the pain, the suffering, even the divorce because of it, because I wasn't focused on anything but teeth. I mean, this has been my life. And I think they know when you care that much, they feel for you and they want to support me. So I couldn't have a better support team. I've got two daughters who do what they can around the business
Right.
and help me around my teaching. How does that work out? I don't know. It just sort of does by being
Well,
out there.
the good news is there are now companies that help you with automation, responses. One of the things I have a hard time is if people responded, I'm not sure I answered them all. Like, how do you even know if you've answered? So there are people out there to support it, but I think bottom line, you have to be in your lane, doing your thing that you know, and it has to lead to revenue somewhere unless you just want to be famous. I mean, I guess there's
Well,
dancers.
I don't even, again, that's another thing I would say about me. I don't even want to know how many followers or subscribers or likes or anything. I want nothing to do with the numbers. And that is it just happens. I'm a Christian, and the Bible is a story of David, who had his massive armies and was doing really well. And he started counting how many people were in his army. And all of a sudden the whole thing collapsed. And I think the moral of the story is when you stop focusing on your primary goal and start worrying about numbers, whether it's money or how many followers or subscribers, you lose the passion for the focus. I only have one focus: to help people have healthier mouths.
We talk about the spirit of something. When you're truly generous from the heart, I think people know it.
I do too. I do too. And I think there's nothing beats that. And some of my adversaries, as I suppose you'd say in America, they're male dentists who dislike what I do because it's not what they do. I have a couple of them. I have about 3 of them, in fact, who are really vocal on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram. And they will even go as far as to pull up my products, and they get the wrong things, and they go, look, she suggests this. And it's not even the product I suggest. But you know what's so interesting? There are my followers watching those people who say, no, that's not what she suggests. I mean, I have a support group out there vocal enough to tell another dentist they're wrong. And I didn't make that happen, but I
Right.
know why it happens, because why is that person so angry at me? What? Why not call me up and go, Ellie, is this really the best way of looking after teeth? I mean, I tried calling them, but they don't want to talk to me. So what's the problem there?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what about the idea of it's too late, I'm too old?
Oh,
You know,
what is what I'd say.
I, but
I
it's so weird. Like I'm in these tech companies, all the kids are 25 years old. I go, I'm 68. I'm the only older woman in here. But speaking back to my passion, I think older women need to embrace technology because everything is going to be there. Their health care is going to be there. We can't just sit around and go, I don't like Facebook. I don't like, we can just evaporate while the world gets more and more educated. So I'm about education, but a lot of times I'm by myself in my age group.
Well, I think there was the 10 years older than us. I mean, I'm older than you by 10 years here, but it's that now 80, 90-year-olds that were, because I was what? I was like 30 when, no, I was older than that. I was like 40 something when when computers came along. So you were about 30 when computers came
Right.
along, right? So that's not so bad to learn. 40, there were people in my age group that were like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that. I had I had my kids late, so I think I had to embrace some of that because we went to school and they were doing a Zoom call or something,
Right.
and I had to learn some stuff. I just think that now we're heading into a new group that were maybe 20 when computers came along. So it's going to be better. They're not going to say when I just think we're in the turnover stage. And I would like to stay with the ones who keep progressing because that's my personality. I go to I'm sure, I don't know if you go to the gym, but I go to the gym and I decided, I really don't know how to do weights. I've never done it. And I don't want to hurt myself.
Right.
So I'll pay a woman to help me. And I wanted to get somebody who's good with older people. And one day, there was a girl jumping onto a box. Have you seen those things where they jump up onto a box? Maybe you do it. Do you
I
do
do
it?
not do it.
Well, I'm looking at it shocked that this girl could actually jump up like that. So a week later, I'm having another of these lessons in weights, and the girl takes me over and says, she brings a box over, and I'm like, my body doesn't know how to do that. But she was great. And she was like, well, you want to try a little slower? And do you know what? I learned. My body had never jumped with 2 feet at the same time. I never jump roped. I never jumped. I've never done it. And it seemed really scary. I mean, felt myself standing there with this tiny little step going, I have no idea what to do. And I had to start the first jump I had to do holding on to something.
Sure.
And then you do it and you go, oh, this is not so bad. And then you build up. And I think that's the same with anything. You set your mind. I went hiking again quite recently, and everybody walked across a log, across a stream. I have never done that in my life. I did it because I was too embarrassed to say I couldn't, but I was terrified. But guess what? I ordered from Amazon a balance beam thing that I now practice. I put it in my bedroom on the floor. It's on the floor beam, but it's only like 2.5 inches wide, and I walk along it every night.
Great for your balance.
Guess what? You get better at it. The more you do it, you get better at it. And I'm only going to fall onto the carpet. I'm not going to hurt myself.
Well, I just had both of my knees replaced this year or within the last 12 months. And but for 20 years I haven't stepped up on a curb because there was no way. And so in my physical therapy, that made fun. She brought over like an 8-inch step.
Yeah.
She goes, step up there, and let's practice. I'm like, I cannot do that. I mean, I want to just inform her
Yeah.
that's not possible for me.
Yep.
And she said, well, just try it. And I refused. I was like, I don't, So the truth of it is, my knee was fine. My brain was not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I could
It's,
do it,
we
but
can do
not
so
with my
many things.
brain.
Yeah, we have to tell ourselves we will do it if we want to. And it is that choice that I think is so cool, because there's nothing wrong with choosing not to. But I find I'm excited by choosing to do.
Well, the day I did it, I got in the car and I called my husband. I said,
I know. It's like it's like a new spark in your life. And it's silly, isn't it? Just for me, it was jumping with 2 feet. I have never done that, but I didn't know I hadn't done it until I was presented with it. And then I looked at it and was like, no, nothing in my body knows how to do that. And I think it's the same whether it's technology. I don't cook. I went to boarding school and I was never with my parents. I never learned to cook. I've said all my life I can't cook. Well, guess what? I just bought a children's cooking book and I'm starting to cook.
oh, Dr.
You
Ellie,
know,
that is so precious.
well, because they only have 4 ingredients in each thing. How bad can it get? But I don't start with some fancy French cooking book. You begin, and then you find out that's not that hard. Why did I say I can't cook? I mean, of course you can. Anyone can.
That's
So
so inspirational. Well, I help women design a life they love. And often they don't even know what it is. Like it takes practice to whip up even a wish.
yes,
It's
yeah.
so funny when there's a big lottery, everybody goes, oh, if I win the lottery, you know, I want to go, what about the life lottery where you could wish for something and have it?
Well, and I think that's one of the things too. I'm a big believer in this idea that you create. I haven't realized it yet, but I'm trying to create. I don't know if it's a foundation or some sort of mission-based institution of some sort where this thing for pregnant mothers will grow from it. It's the seed is in my head out there as the possibility. And now I'm sure it may take us some years, but if you don't have the seed of possibility out there, you don't. And I think about it every day. I design it every day how it's going to be. It's just got a spark has got to come and then it'll burn.
That is so beautiful. I love that. Thank you for sharing that because you know what? It's right out there. And I believe in conversation. But it's in conversation that someone says that can happen and that, it's sort of the trail of what can be is exciting.
It is. And you see, I think TikTok has a bad rap that, yeah, there are lots of bad things on TikTok, I'm sure. I'm not in that friendship group. So most of the things I ever see are quite interesting. Natural health people, I say I follow stem cell science because I think it's a fascinating, that's how you regrow your gums, is you stimulate stem cells to come and regrow your gum tissue, which is why it works, whereas dentists don't know about this for some reason. So, they will know about it when they can charge for the treatment, I'm sure. But
Right?
but I'm off topic again, but it is the TikTok conversations that I find are helpful. And if I go out there more and more talking about what I want to do, this desire of mine to help pregnant women, I feel somebody who knows somebody who trusts me, who knows somebody who trusts them, and they go, oh, we got a family foundation that can do this or that, and then it'll come together. When they know that you're genuine, that you're doing what you're doing for a reason that's right, it will come. I believe it.
Yeah, I do too. I love it. Okay, I think I've lost my way in our conversation. Let's see.
Oh, I think we've done it. It's a way of keeping your motivation, your reason to be alive.
Well, I know you're busy. I know what it took to get this on the calendar, and I want to thank you for being my guest and being with me. And I'm going to chop this up and make it go as far as it can to affect someone.
Fantastic. And I'll come to you for my technological help.
You do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sandy. It was wonderful. Take care.
Bye.